Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Huh? So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
Hey, we want to shout out to our sponsors, Daytona Beach Comic Con. If you are a fan of comic books, if you're a fan of comic book conventions, and if you like meeting comic book creators and getting comics and comic-related stuff, then you need to make your plans to attend Daytona Beach Comic Con. This year's show is September 9th and 10th. Silverline will be there, so you should make your plans to be there too. We'll see you there. If you like comics and find yourself in the Orlando, Florida area, doesn't everyone come to Orlando at some point in time to see the House of Mouse? But when you're here, you need to make it a point to visit Coliseum of Comics, especially the one on East Colonial Drive. They carry Silverline comics, even a limited edition Coliseum of Comics version of our comics. So, when you go, be sure to ask for Silverline Comics and tell them we sent you. OCD stands for Orlando Collector Deviants. OCD, Steve and Trish, they're a family of geeks who promote geek things, particularly those around the Orlando, Florida area. They're big supporters of Silverline, and we think you should be supporters of theirs too. Go give them some love. If you are an independent comic book maker and you need to get your independent comics made, you need to look no further than Kablam Digital Printing. They print our books, and they do a bang-up job. They're not only trusted by Silverline, but many, many independent comic book makers. Head on over to kablam.com and see for yourself just how easy it is to have your comic printed by them. And tell them Silverline sent you.
Hi, this is Tim TK, host of That Silverline Show on Tuesday. Join us at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Tuesday night as we discuss pop culture and the joys of making comics.
Hi, I'm Barb Kilber, co-host of Silverline's Wednesday Wham. Join us each Wednesday night as we discuss comics, literature, movies, and anything else that may catch our attention.
I'm Roland Mann, and I host Silverline's Silver Sunday. Join me every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern as we make mine Silverline.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to That Silverline Show on Tuesday. I'm your host, Tim TK, and I'm joined, as always, by David Rios.
Hello.
And Jose Fuentes.
Hello, everyone.
1 second. I got a message.
Tim broke the internet.
I know. Okay. There we are. Okay, so tonight's topic is going to be planning out a productive year. We also have the Comics Network has open sponsorships. So if you wish to become a sponsor of Comics Network, go ahead and follow that information there on screen. If you want to support the show here, head on over to SilverlineComics.com and buy some of our comics, buy some of our merch. We'd love to have you read our stuff, and we have more books coming out soon. I believe actually have a Kickstarter coming up soon that we'll be able to, I believe we can announce it next week.
Isn't our Kickstarter live?
Might be. There. They have it on one calendar for me, but not on the other.
Yep, it's live.
Okay, so we'll get that pulled up here for you at home. So if you want to pre-order our most recent productions, you can do that through Kickstarter. There it is.
Yep, we already have $386 towards our goal.
Yeah.
Nice. We also have
There you go.
the current Trump's book in the Diamond Previews order form. So issue 2 of Trump's.
Yes. And if you run a comic shop, you can, in fact, buy our product through Diamond as well. So go ahead and get us stocked. We'd love to be in your store. And if you're in one of our local areas, I'm sure most of us would also. Lost my connection there for a second.
Yeah.
If your store is located near to any Silverline talent, go ahead and reach out to us. I'm sure we'd be more than willing to come down and help promote our books there. But we currently do have a Kickstarter going on for Beyond the Stars. This is issue number 3, Beyond the Stars, and Baron number 2. We do also allow you to pick up any back issues that you may have missed out if you're just now catching up for a series. Beyond the Stars is a very modern comics pop culture take on the classic science space opera, high science fiction, and is our family friendly anthropomorphic animals. So a little bit of everyone in this current Kickstarter, and of course each Kickstarter do offer different levels of rewards, including back issues as well as alternate covers and collectibles in the forms of interior art. So this is original scans of art, original pages of art. So go ahead and pick up whatever hits your fancy, and if at the same time you're looking to get any one other series, now is a good time to do so. We include those into your Kickstarter order. So in addition to the book you pre-order, you can also collect any one of our other series that we have put out. So that's
like Wolf Hunter.
Like Wolf Hunter. Or the obsoletes, yeah. And hopefully we can get you something good to read. Just go to Kickstarter and look up Silverline Comics. And earlier tonight, we're talking about planning out a productive year. Of course, the joke with creatives is that we're highly disorganized and neurotic messes, which is perhaps more accurate than I would like it to be. But we will be talking about some tools you can use to be more organized than we are, and hopefully actually meet your deadlines. And before we get into that, I'll reach out to other guys. What have you been reading recently, if you've been reading it at all?
I have been kind of bouncing back and forth, some new stuff. I've been trying to follow some of the X-Men titles and stuff like that. The current ones with the fall of the House of X and all that. But I've also been reading some of the Skybound stuff with Cobra Commander and G.I. Joe's, stuff like that. And then also I've been flipping back and forth to the John Byrne Fantastic Fours.
Nice.
So I kind of spreading around here and there. So some physical stuff, some stuff on my Kindle, and because we've had some really good inexpensive sales of some of the digital content. So, yep. And typically when I get my orders in of Silverline, I will read through those. I can say that I did some proofreading on the Beyond the Stars issue 3 and the Bay issue 2. So those are kind of fun little books.
Nice.
Definitely enjoyed them while I was doing the proofreading. So, yep, very entertaining. So, highly recommended.
Good.
I don't know. No, I started reading the Cobra Commander. I read Cobra Commander. I picked it up and then didn't do anything with it for a while, just because, like I said, we moved. If anybody's on our stream sees my background's changing, kind of limits my reading for the week.
Yeah, that's fair.
If it counts, though, I did do some Lovecraft audiobooks.
Yeah, I'd say audiobooks count. Anything that gets written works into your brain.
Right.
Yeah, I actually find that my happy medium for reading through books at a good clip is reading through 3 books at a time, but through different mediums. My physical
Wow.
book, which I read at home. If I'm if I'm traveling, I just have my phone or work computer on me, or if I'm reading at the office, I'll have my ebook pulled up. And then if I'm during my commute, I'll listen to an audiobook. So it's I'm bouncing around enough that it helps my ADHD not get too distracted by other things.
Interesting.
But
That's a good thing.
but it's still focused, so I'm actually making good progress and stuff.
I know going back and forth to art school, I had an hour and 10-minute drive
Oh yeah,
one way, and I would audiobook it on the way there and back.
yes, yeah. Audiobook I'm currently working through. I'm going through the Dresden Files again. This time on audiobook.
Nice.
As James Marsters is the voice of as the narrator, and so I listened to actually. Yeah. So I heard I got into the Dresden audiobooks later on in the series and really like the way that he presents them. So now I'm going back and redoing the Dresden Files again, but through audiobook this time.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. My book I'm currently reading through is Decision at Thunder Rift, which is part of the BattleTech Grey Death Legion trilogy. And physical books, I'm just working through the Golgotha series, which is like Weird West. I've shown them off before because like I love the world building, but now actually going through them, that's Weird West.
Okay.
Yeah, Western like Gothic fiction set in the Nevada, like in a town in Nevada, in between like on the way to the California Gold Rush. So where all the vampires and werewolves and undead hunt out to get out of the way.
Nice.
That's cool. I remember you showing us that before.
Yeah, because I've read it like I just got it when I picked it up. I got there a little bit of it. Love the world building and like the theming of it. But now I'm actually able to go down and read through them, and the writing is the very classic Western with a lot of fun. Horror elements thrown into it.
Oh, you had me at Weird West.
Yeah, that's it's actually very Cthulhu-y, Jose. So I think you would really enjoy it.
Dude, I actually like Weird West. Like one of the things I wanted to do when I was younger was play Deadlands, which is it's a tabletop RPG, set in like Cthulhu / weird Western area, right? And I never got to play it until I went to art school, and our he was my sub for basic drawing, but he was also like working in administration. But he did after school, he would run a D&D game. I think it was like Wednesday. I think it was like every Wednesday or something like that. We'd run a role playing game, and one of the years we did it, we got to play. He ran Deadlands.
Nice.
Which had even that much more like interest for me because him, Mike Chen, and Kim DeMolder did artwork for illustrations for the role playing books.
Nice.
So,
yeah, it was pretty awesome. I got both of them to do a sketch in a different book from the. Cause I bought some of the Deathland books from Kim, and they did sketches in there for me.
nice. That's dope.
Yeah, it's one of my prized possessions.
Absolutely. That's like I showed off last week, but that's how I'm feeling with this BattleTech thing I got. Actually, I don't know if I showed you that, Jose. But so I'm a community organizer for the game BattleTech. I'm reading the novels right now, but at one set event we had the art director from the series actually come in and play with us. So I got some signed art from the art director who painted this.
Dude, that's sick.
Yeah. Came that mic up now. Okay. Where did I put my notes? There. Okay. So, like I said, tonight's topic is going to be talking about how you can plan being productive for if you're in particular a comic book creator, but in general if you're creative, as that is something which I know a lot of us struggle with due to the fact that, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of us have some form of ADHD or mental illness that makes us like to bounce around between a bunch of different things at once.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Very true. It is hard to settle. Like once you start working on something, like if I get running on something, I can zone and just go right. But I'll start working on something and then just like, okay, but I have something else I got to do.
All right. That's
okay, I got something else I got to do.
Yeah.
I need to go back to that first one. Oh my gosh, it's crazy.
Yeah. The writer version of that is you'll be able to sit down and write, and you'll pound out 500 words, 600 words one day on a book and feel like you did great. And then the next day you sit down to write, you have a new idea, like, ooh, this would be a fun world to explore. So you end up pounding out 600 words on another book. Yeah. So we kind of alluded here to the significance of having a clear vision, as demonstrated by us not having a clear vision for what we want to do that day. So I guess the benefit for having a clear vision for your creative work is it allows you to actually accomplish something in a timely manner, be focused on it, and be wholly committed to that idea. Which sounds great, but
right.
Logistically
amazing on paper.
Yeah. I know Cassisi and I are talking, and he currently has like 4 or 5 different universes he's developing right now. And so, yeah.
That's crazy. As a writer, that just astounds me. Like, I find it, I mean, artwork's one thing. Like, artwork, I cycle through artwork a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, trying to stay focused on one thing. My daughter, my 14-year-old, she's reading the Wings of Fire series, and she's almost done with all of them. And I was like, hey, babe, there's other books. She's like, yeah, Dad, I know there's other books, like, based in the same universe, but they're not the run. I'm like,
yeah.
But you could read those other ones until, you pick up the other ones. Like, I don't want to confuse the storyline in my head. That is literally me doing artwork. Like,
yeah.
She hit the nail right on the head on that one.
That's amazing. Okay.
I was like, I can't even be mad at you, babe. Like, I totally understand that completely.
I guess kind of to bridge topics here, but one note that I have is in terms of like basic techniques before we get into like, our prescriptive tools, but just like our basic techniques used for developing an idea of being on task is having someone to help you keep accountable, an accountability buddy.
That's easy for you to say.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you're creative, in some cases, this is your editor or whatever. But something that Jose and I have done, running like a D&D RPG game. Very much like your players are your people holding you accountable because they have to have the session ready for them by game day. But to turn that into, if you're working in comics, having like an editor or if you're an illustrator, it's you might be your editor or inker, or if you're a colorist, it's going to be the project editor or what have you. Someone counted on you to get the pages turned in.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
your colorist and whatnot. Those
Exactly.
guys haunting you.
Yeah, see, my favorite thing is just being the editor who's already like checked in on like a project, turned in the pages, made sure everything's good, and then left. And then you just have the inker, colorist, and penciler in that group project just like talking back and forth. You're like, no, you have these pages in high res. No, I don't. They're on this one thing. Can you get them to me in high res by tomorrow? Maybe. Yeah. But like there are other basic techniques like creating a vision board or a murder board, as I call it, the thing where you have
Murder board.
yeah, mind mapping or spider webbing your goals. What sort of basic techniques do you guys have, if any, to help keep yourselves on task or plan out what you're doing for a day, week, year, anything like that?
Well, I haven't moved it over yet, but I actually have a dry erase calendar that it used to sit behind me, which is now it's going to go on the wall in front of me. But it's so the calendar part to me doesn't really matter, except for if I know something, I have things going on for that month, then I'll fill the calendar in, right? But on the side of it, it's got columns of like it's like empty lines, and I can put on there like this, when I need this by. Um, Deadlines are important. Mine are all over the place, but it keeps me on track. Like I need to finish obsoletes. I need to finish cat and mouse. You know what I mean? Obsoletes. This is done. I need to do this right. So it's got the lines on it enough for me to be able to like. So that if I don't do that, then I'll sit here and be like, what am I going to work on? I don't know what to start with. Right? In the morning stinks for me because I'm terrible in the morning anyway. But then I can be like, okay, cat and mouse, finish that up, right? Finish, witchfinder colors. Finish. It's all on my list. I haven't finished them. It's on my list, and then I'll update it. This through this is done. This through this is done. Pencils for this need is needed. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
even though it seems like kind of redundant on some things, it makes sense to me looking at it that this is where I need to be. This is where where I need to work. Children in life get in the way of that sometimes, but at least I can like have a general organization, you know what I mean, in front of me of what I need to work on next.
Well,
And then
for
some
me,
fitting commissions.
I tend to stick more towards working on sequential pages. The hard part that I have is trying to set myself when I should be done. I am, where is that line between I'm done and I'm well overdone?
Yeah.
And I just keep fiddling and all this stuff. So I have to keep bringing myself back to, kind of sitting back some and looking at it more from a distance and all that. So my planning out is basically, I'll balance doing some pages where I'll go through and I may do some prep work on the pages, flat stuff like that. Set a run of that and then go back and start, detailing, those runs of pages. And it helps keep me from just, day one, this, just it helps break up the monotony and helps keep me flowing because like the coloring of this Demon's Tales book, I have never seen so many people in robes and all that.
Mhm.
And you sit there and you've got, I kid you not, some of these pages have like, 10 plus people in robes, and and then it's like whole sequences of this whole demon worship thing, and it's like sometimes I just need to cut to another part of the book just to get myself separated from it.
Right.
So my planning is trying to keep things moving and not just lose myself in robes for days and days and days.
Yeah.
So that's where the jumping in different parts of the books and stuff like and that. So I don't have a set calendar. I'm also I'm not on a monthly title type thing. That would definitely cause me to be more focused on a schedule. I know when I was tasked with doing the covers for the Kalis books, it's like, okay, well, that is that's something that, all the interiors are done. We just need to get the covers done and all that. And, so I'll go through and I'll put priority on, I put priority on those to get those turned around quickly, so I wasn't holding up. But
Right.
that's kind of a balance that I do. I don't have a calendar, like Jose was talking about, though I probably should. I'm sure that would help.
Definitely.
I mean, there's always exceptions to the rule when it, I mean, on the calendar, there's always, oh, I have to add this in, or I have to addendum this in, you know what I mean? But it really does help to like just kind of keep my focus, because like I said, I'll start working on something like I should probably work on this. Oh no, I should probably work on this. No, I really
Yeah.
need to work on this, and go back, and just it's a hot mess if I don't.
Yeah.
That and trying to keep video games to a minimum, or at least in its own pocket,
Yeah.
because if I don't, nothing would get done.
Right. You have to almost
Because
like
I
budget
don't
out your
play a lot of
sessions.
video games, but I like my video games.
Yes. You have to budget out your sessions. Like I know tonight, for so many hours after the show, I'm playing a game. Probably not tomorrow. Probably painting or writing. Saturday or Friday, budgeting out so many hours to play a game with friends, stuff like that. It's kind of annoying.
Right.
But I don't have to have a calendar, but I do have the murder board. Mine is actually downstairs next to my bookcase, but I have the cork board, which I just get a bunch of post-its in as I plan out chapters or pages. Which, if you're a writer and you haven't thought about breaking up your comic book into chapters, try it. I found that it actually helps quite a bit. It's not chapters for the audience to encounter, but you'll know. The same way you'd write a chapter for a novel is how you break up scenes and stuff like that. Then I'll just get a bunch of 3x5 cards levels written out and pin them to the board, and then start Xing out things.
If you had a physical murder board,
Yeah.
I've got a digital one.
Yeah, having the physical one, it's nice just being able to walk into the room and see it right there before I sit down.
Right.
And then you just X out cards as you finish them. I'm trying to get it hung up here shortly. I'm in a new space. And like I said earlier, having someone to keep you accountable. There have been several times where I have met a deadline simply by the fact of that morning Roland messaging me and be like, dude, where is this?
Right.
Like, it's in your email right now, I swear.
It's funny. I had my friend Josh. He every night he would hit me up. It's like, you finish a page today? Yes, dude, I finished the page today.
Yeah.
He's not even involved in art at all. He just happens to be one of my good friends. He's like, bro. And he would see me, like I'd hop on my Xbox, bro. Did you finish the page today? It's like, yes, I finished the page today.
That's the thing. Like, if you have like a partner or like a gaming buddy or like any sort of like buddy outside of like your art circle that does that for you, that is also incredibly helpful.
Right.
I have an art Discord set up for writers and artists in the area that we can all do that for each other. But
That's cool.
if I know that people in like my WoW guild or Final Fantasy 14 free company, if they are working on something and when they log in, I can be like, "Did you do this before you got on?"
See, that's
something
cool.
that,
Yeah, I don't really have that much. I have my wife who tries to keep me, motivated and all that. I mean, she does pretty well, but I don't have. I remember back when I used to be able to play games. It's pretty much day job and then get up and come here. I don't have a lot of time to do things. Sometimes I'll try to step away for a minute and maybe read a chapter of something, and then come back. Or we've kind of got a little addicted to some puzzles. So I may go over there and put a couple pieces down and all that. But I don't really have time, devoted
Yeah,
time
puzzles is
to.
brain exercise. That's cool.
You would love them, Jose. I have 2 Transformers puzzles. That's the
nice.
old the original
Old Buster?
Autobot. Oh, see, my wife is right here. She just
That's
handed
dope.
me.
Heck yeah.
So
That
I
was on
have
the back of the packaging and whatnot. We see that on there.
I have the Autobot and the Decepticon ones, and they just kind of sit there. And every once in a while, I'll walk over and I'll put a couple pieces in, get my mind off
That's
things,
cool.
and then go back. So yeah.
Yeah, my mother-in-law does puzzles. She's really good at it. Like she does. We just did one where when we were on our family cruise, we all wore our Marvel Christmas pajamas, right? And so we
Nice.
got a family picture of all of us wearing like my wife, me, our 4 kids, my mother-in-law, my aunt, all of us wearing the same jammies. And then my wife went and made a puzzle of it, like 1,000 piece or 2,000 piece puzzle, and gave it to my aunt and my mother-in-law. And she got all the heads done. And now she's like slowly working through that because we all have the same pajamas on. So she's slowly trying to work through that.
My wife just did the Starry Night one,
Oh, that's
which
cool.
was the most difficult thing in the world. There are so
Because
many. It's just because a lot of the strokes look
yeah, I
similar.
was gonna ask, it's
Area.
because of
It
the
was
brush
just.
strokes.
It was brutal. It really was. It was the most frustrating. She's been playing around. Ironically, the puzzle that I just showed you, I had bought and it was missing a bunch of pieces, and I just got a replacement, which is
Oh, nice.
a nice little story on that. But basically, the whole left side was missing. So the company was really nice about it. They sent me a replacement that has all the pieces I'm missing. So, but it was just, I don't know. It was fun to do the completion part of that, but I said my wife's been, oh, we still have this other part. Let's go ahead and throw this together, and it's a relief because she's like, oh, this is so much easier than the Starry Night one. That was just crazy.
Right.
The difficulty was through the roof. It was expert level. Both of them 1,000-piece puzzles. So
Wow.
it's different.
So like I said, that's fun. It's also like freaking, like I said, this brain exercise, man, doing puzzles. That's cool.
Yeah. It just takes your mind off of the monotony. Yeah.
Definitely. I don't necessarily do to help bring up monotony with writing. As much as it kind of sounds like I'm preaching staying focused on one project. I'll work on like I like with my books where I like need to be reading 3 at the same time to actually stay focused on any one of them. I usually have to be working on 2 different books at once. Not necessarily writing them, but writing one, developing the other. And so, like, one day I'll be writing pages in one book, and the next day I'll be developing world for the other book, and then we'll go back and forth. Just to break up that pattern a bit. For something like if I'm doing a long, like if I'm doing like a writing marathon one day and I need to step away, then that's where we'll get into. I try to do those days actually like with my laptop. You can also do it with, good old fashioned pen and paper, but if you believe in living in the 1800s, doing those outside at a coffee shop or something like that, where I can actually like take a break, step away, harass a stranger on the street, or go through a walk through the city park or something. Just to get something in there to help break up what my eyes have been staring at and jog my subconscious a little bit.
Well, that's true, because if you're focusing on a single thing and you hit that wall, sometimes you need something to pull you completely back, that you're not just so hyper focused on that one thing that you need to kind of reset and come at it with fresh eyes, similar to bringing somebody else in to go, hey, well, it's what about this?
Absolutely. Okay.
Do you find, Tim, that when you work on the 2 different books, do you find when you're working on one, it's like, oh, you know what, that would be awesome if I had that in this other one, and switch ideas back and forth?
Ish, very loosely, but usually I'm working on like things are so wildly separate. So to give you an idea, my books I'm going to my current lineup is editing World War II espionage piece and writing Victorian Gothic horror.
Right.
So like they're like some elements of drama that maybe I kind of bounce back and forth with, but usually I end up working on things that are so broadly separated because I try to really hard to not pigeon myself into any one genre other than general historical influence. Because my next piece that I have coming up after the editing piece is writing mythology-inspired high concept science fiction. So a lot of things where it's going to be very like across the board, different things. So like there's not like when you one element that might carry across, but like general ideas of like character interactions or things like that, I will kind of pull across.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Now moving into kind of like a prescriptive side of things, or what seems to be a popular conceit for some creatives in terms of how themselves stay productive. I'll preface by saying I don't necessarily use this myself outside of like my day job, but I get the idea of it. And I'm sure we all use it to some extent without necessarily thinking about it. But have you guys heard of SMART goals?
Mm-hmm.
As in the acronym.
Not.
Yeah.
Okay. Usually it is more popular in like the corporate world or business, but a lot of creatives are now starting to also adopt the idea. But the idea is that a SMART goal, SMART, is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound.
Okay.
So kind of like ideas that like we'll use like on our own without necessarily like defining it, but the idea of it's time bound, you give yourself a deadline, specific, exactly what it is you're doing, like you're drawing pages, measurable, you have a specific number of pages that you need to draw. Achievable, it's you're not giving yourself something you can't do, like draw 24 pages in one day. I'm sure someone's done it, but God bless arthritis. Yeah. And relevant, it's related to work. All these are going to be relevant.
You're right.
But yeah, the kind of idea where like we spoke it down for like an artist or an illustrator, but like for a writer, it'd be writing so many pages by said day, things like that. As a writer, you can write 24 pages in one day because writing comic book pages is not as hard as writing a novel.
That's fair.
Yeah, especially for writing Marvel style.
Though I can turn around and say, have you seen the John Byrne pages that he's written?
Yeah.
Those are paragraphs.
Yes.
And paragraphs.
Well, depending on like John Byrne or Alan Moore, probably not doing 24 of those pages in one day.
I don't know, honestly, because a lot of the things that I've heard was, I've been reading a lot of the not only the books, these are like the masterworks, or the epic books, but a lot of the additional information, he's John Byrne in particular, he's extremely quick. I mean, he's during his run, he was writing, he was doing inking and penciling on the Fantastic Four stuff. He was also doing other stuff like some Alpha Flight stuff, and I think he was doing some of the Thing, and keeping up the pace. I as far as writers, I see a lot of writers that are doing so many different books, and they're maintaining those books every month.
Yeah, let's Donnie at the peak of his career, I think. I don't know if his career's peaked. I don't even know if it has, but a couple years ago, it felt like it would be a capstone for any writer's career. Donnie Katz was working on, I think he's at 8 titles in 1 month, 3 of them for Marvel, 2 for DC, and a couple independents.
That's a lot.
And one of them was the Keenan Black series. So that was Venom, Keenan Black, and Carnage. Yeah. He's writing all those at the same time. When that was so like that feels like a capstone for any writer's career. Is like, by the way, not only are you writing the current, like the annual big event for Marvel, but you're writing everything involved with that. And he said he would he could write a script in 24 hours and then have it fully edited in 2 days. So that was his cycles. He would he'd have like essentially marathon days set aside where he'd spend time with family, write out an issue and get it turned in. Spend time with family, write out an issue, get it turned in.
Yeah, that's another writer I'm thinking about is Charles Soule.
Yeah,
he's doing, he's one of the core people that's doing all the High Republic novels, but he's also doing some of the High Republic comics and other independent comics at the same time, and so he's got a pretty big thing going on every month. So
jumping back here. So kind of after we went over SMART goals, something like I haven't really necessarily, I don't necessarily think about my goals in that terms. So if I'm setting aside my work for a time, I kind of inadvertently walk into that pattern of okay, my deadline for this book is this day, so that means I need to do so many pages each day or whatever. Do you guys find yourself like accidentally wandering into the same ideas, or David, since you heard of the idea before, do you intentionally think of setting aside your work in terms of SMART goals, or has the idea of like that not necessarily cross your mind?
Well, for me, I'm heavily involved with SMART goals with my day job.
Mm-hmm.
So typically, once I come here, this is kind of my
you don't want to see the word SMART.
Opposite. So I'm like, trying to get rid of or not focus on that So yeah, my day is a lot of my day job stuff is a lot of accountability and things like SMART goals, stuff like that. And so here is more of my kind of chill and do it
Yeah.
thing. So
I didn't even know SMART goal thing was a thing, but I probably followed by some of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just by your guys' description. Um, I might implement it more. I might have to look into it.
Sure. Yeah. It's one of those things where,
Anything to
like,
keep myself focused, man, to keep myself, trying to keep as on task as I can. But like I
definitely,
said, life gets in the way for some things.
definitely.
But and given the fact that I work from home, you know what I mean? So anytime something needs to get done, it's always like, oh hey dad, can you go do this? Oh hey dad, can you go do that? I'm like,
Yes.
yes,
Great. Good.
I'm an amazing father. Of course I will. But yeah, anything I can use to like focus to keep myself on track, it's always a win. I know that I almost failed out of art school my first year because at the end of the first semester, um, Christmas break, I started playing Assassin's Creed Origins,
Yeah.
and I kept playing it into the next year, and I was like, I gotta stop. Like I started getting behind, and I had to catch everything up. Never did it again the rest of the time I was there. I was like, nope, I learned my lesson.
Nice.
Like from now on, it's gotta stay on point.
Totally.
I don't think that at all answered the question you asked me.
No. I get it. Okay. But you did say, Jose, however, that you do use a calendar to create something like a roadmap or a timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you talk about kind of how you wandered into that? What do you find some of the benefits are of that process?
So I have a friend. I'm pretty sure I got it from my friend Nick. He's a writer, and he has, he was keeping track of what he was doing. I think pretty sure it was Nick that told me this, but he was keeping track of it on a calendar. Like this, I'm writing this on this day, right? Right. These minutes, I'm writing this, and then I think he'll mark on there how many pages he actually wrote from that, right? And the idea was like, I don't necessarily have to like put in Tuesday I'm working on athletes. Wednesday I'm working on athletes. Thursday I'm working on cat and mouse. I needed to at least have on what I need to work on, like what my requirements are, and then um where I wanted to see myself get done with it. Like, okay, so I would have the requirement books on there, and then I would go on and be like, okay, I think I can get like 2 pages done today. It's like the next set are kind of heavy, so it's only going to be one, right? So I would just like mark it, and that's kind of where it came from, like that. And I don't think anybody really told me, like other than my friend Nick, but I don't think anybody really told me like of a system to use. I'm just kind of trying to. That's kind of what works for me. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I need to be, like I said, I need to be able to see what I'm doing. Okay, commissions go on the list too. Like, can I slide that commission in somewhere, like as a warm up, get that commission done? You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Or maybe like finishing off the night with a commission. You know what I mean? Like trying my best to like get as much pages done. And I kind of reward system myself because I know that when I start getting close to the end of a book, I want to just hammer them out. And if I do that, sometimes the quality, you know what I mean, lacks.
Yeah.
So I like, okay, I'm gonna get this one page done, and then when I finish it, I'm gonna get a bowl of ice cream. That's my goal. Like I want my bowl of ice cream before the end of the night. I'm going to work on it, but it has
Yeah.
to look good. It can't just be like I just can't like, spit it out and be done. I have to like it has to look good, it has to look right. It has to be consistent with everything else that I've done. So, but the goal is ideally a page a day if I can do it. If life doesn't get in the way. And then I get to thoroughly enjoy my bowl of ice cream afterwards.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like the calendar thing, it works. It works for me to just to visually see it there. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And it's like, okay, today I don't feel like working on sci-fi stuff. I'm going to go and switch to cat and mouse and work on that. Or I feel like working on colors. I'm going to work on colors, but I know where I am on that board that I need to do something that's up there. If that makes
Yeah,
any sense.
definitely.
So that's what it does for me.
Yeah. I think the only closest I've got to using the calendar for myself is if I'm aside of setting deadlines, is scheduling aside days to do like a marathon session of something. Kind of using set aside time to protect it and keep life from interfering with it. Like I know, like
Right.
I can't do anything with friends, can't do anything with family because like this Saturday, like from like 9 to 9, I am writing. Or just recently, last weekend, I did that with painting, where I at my local game store we played Blood Bowl,
I
which is
know what that is.
it's like fantasy football, as in football with fantasy creatures. Should you have? And I play as the Elven Union, so.
Oh, cool.
And I had to get my team painted, at least base colors, done by Monday. So I said, all right, this Saturday I can't do crap because I'm just painting.
Right.
But somebody can use things like that for, like, if you're, I don't know, with writing and illustrating, and I mean, with painting as well, like, by the end of a good marathon, your eyes are going to feel like they're falling out of your head and your wrist hurts. But if you've been productive, like you'll feel like very rewarded at the end of that marathon.
Yeah. If you made your goal, you know what I mean,
Yeah,
then
absolutely.
it can be enjoy your rest. That's all. If you
Yeah,
make your goal, enjoy your rest. But yeah, it makes you feel pretty good.
absolutely. Okay. Let's see there. The next note I have here is we already kind of all talked about it in different ways, but they've been flexible in your creative planning, which Jose already mentioned with your calendar that that like you have a couple things on there. So as long as you're hitting one of those things,
Right.
you can bring progress. I said like if I'm writing, no, I'm writing 2 books at one time, just so I can bounce between the two and still and things like that. But another point of flexibility which is important is the idea of not beating yourself up if life gets in the way. Because things can suck if you lose a week because you're having like a family health issue, or if you're moving, or if you're getting flooded and you lose a lot of time. That can feel a little crappy. So
Right.
yeah. So what are some ways that you guys find you have needed to adjust your planning or your work for dealing with these unforeseen challenges?
Go, Dave. You got ideas?
No, I don't. That's the problem. I just, work around what the issue is. If it's, power outages, then I try to adjust my schedule kind of outside once things go, that I can do it. So maybe I stay, later than I had planned, or, just to kind of adjust and go back. I haven't, in things like power outage type stuff, I haven't. I don't really have the luxury of just picking up and going, and it's not like I have a pad of paper I can just drag
Right.
and go to a local whatever. But I try to plan around things like last week. There was some stuff that I would have liked to have done, but since I was in Orlando, outside of working with my day job, I really didn't have much time to do anything here. So I had to kind of, restructure that. All right, I have to focus on what I'm doing here for what I'm supporting, being in Orlando, and, I don't have my equipment, and trying to sit there and I did bring my iPad, but I don't have much experience in the application, Procreate and stuff like that. So I basically had to just turn around and say, all right, well, I'm going to kind of use this as a semi break. And when I come back, now that I'm back, is, focus on making up for the time that I couldn't
Right.
do while I was there.
Well, on my end, thankfully, we have a pretty awesome editor slash publisher that, like when life got in the way, I was like, hey, boss, I'm homeless for a month.
Yeah.
Just so you know. Um, sorry. And like letting him know was fun. Like I let everyone know for the most part that I was moving. It's like, hey, we gotta move. Not that we were evicted or anything, but like we had to move for the sanity of my children. My two littles were getting bullied at school, and the school wasn't doing anything, so we just opted to
Mm.
move school districts. And our lease was coming up in a couple months anyway, so like it was something we were planning on doing anyway. We just kind of advanced our move, you know what I mean? But um, I think like stuff like that, like that's happened to me. It's like Roland, I hurt my back, or Roland is just like he's been really cool about like giving grace, and I for one absolutely appreciate it. So when anytime he asks me to do something, yes, boss, I will do it. Whatever you need me to do, you know what I mean? But like communication is pretty good with what I mean, with letting people know. But try your best to like make up for it. You know what I mean? Like if
Yeah.
like I said, I'm moving, you know what I mean? I'm still in the process of moving, and but uh yesterday, today, or not today, but tomorrow, you know what I mean? Take the days that I can take, you know what I mean, where I'm not going and running furniture back and forth, and just work on what you need to like set your goal and set your plan to work on what you need to do. And that's what I've been trying to work on. I guess some graphic design stuff I need to get done too, which I don't like graphic design. It doesn't honestly it doesn't bother me per se. I don't like repeating myself.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the basis of graphic design, unless you hit it on the mark the first try, which I don't think I've ever hit it on the mark on the first try. I was like, oh, tweak this, tweak that, tweak this. And I'm like, that means I gotta redo it.
Yeah.
Okay. But
Well,
sometimes you gotta get the paycheck in. Suck it up a little
well,
bit, get the paycheck in.
the good news about the move part is Roland just did a move himself, so I'm sure he feels for you right now.
Right. I'm telling you, our Hefe is awesome.
Yeah. That was good. I definitely not the same way where it's doesn't matter. If you're working with other people in project, communication is incredibly important. But I mean, the classic writer response to losing productivity time is self-loathing.
I can see that.
Yeah. So the important thing is trying to find ways to not do that. But David sounds the most well-adjusted, and that it doesn't matter, just finding ways to work around it and making do with what you have.
Right. That is like the most Marine thing I've ever heard.
My wife's the Marine, so maybe I'm picking it up from her.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, understand life is indeed gonna get in the way. Life is gonna try, like, not necessarily try and stop you, but like it's definitely gonna like create obstacles. Not that life itself is an obstacle. Like I would never call my kids an obstacle, but well, some days I might.
Yeah.
But um, but yeah, like I mean, sometimes you have to step away from the table. Sometimes you have to step away. It's like, hey, I gotta go take care of children. I got to go help my wife. I got to go do this. I got to go do that. You know what I mean? But try to budget as much as you can in your time, in your windows. You know what I mean? Before I went to art school, I was, I worked at the Walmart DC, and I worked, you know what I mean, pretty much till 3 in the afternoon to like 3 or 5 o'clock in the morning. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's only 3 days a week, but which was their full time, but 3 days a week. But I still had to maintain that schedule during the days I wasn't at work, right? So it was easy for me to like make sure we got all the kids to bed, and then I allotted my time to work, like work until
Yeah.
like 3 o'clock in the morning, work until 4 o'clock in the morning, and then go to bed. You know what I mean? Keep your schedule um as best you can, but even then, sometimes like I got to go and run and go help my father-in-law with something, or I got to go help family with something. You know what I mean? Just make up your time when you can, but don't get on yourself about it. Like you said, for writers, self-loathing and whatnot. Try your best not to write yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you don't get any artwork done that day, sometimes that's just a thing. You know what I mean? And then you put a little more effort in the next day. Not double your work, but definitely put in a little more effort to catch up.
1.10%. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
One
I
of the
think
things
that's a
that
solid
also
number.
one of the things that also helps me is trying to set kind of boundaries. I've got an office. I work from home on my day job as well. I have an office, so I treat that as a go into the office and do your day job, and then I have
Yeah.
another setup that I have, all this computer, all my Macs and everything for doing, the coloring stuff in a different area. So what I also try to do is, you know, try to get my day done as quickly as I can, which unfortunately sometimes that's 6, 7 o'clock at night, starting
Right.
at 6 a.m. Um, but I try to kind of separate everything out. So it's like, even though I'm not leaving the house, it's like I'm leaving and going into a separate work environment in that office.
Absolutely.
And then once I leave that office, I try to come in and go here and, keep this separate from the outside, sitting on the couch and all that stuff. So I try to, position, go to different, essentially workstations
Mhm.
and
Right.
transition there. And that helps drive things too. So,
Yeah. This room here is my study room. So this is my digital whatever, but also like can't remember. But then right over here I have my workstation, which right now is set up for painting. But if I'm work from home day, then I'll have my laptop there, nothing else. If I'm writing, then I'll be my laptop and notepads and stuff like that. But just kind of treating that table and space as its own separate entity. That when I'm there, that's work time. And then when
Right.
when I leave it, I'm done.
yeah, exactly. It's like, you're going to the office without actually
Yeah.
going into an office. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, a lot of, even when I go and I eat lunch, I typically will just go into the kitchen, grab the food, and go back, just like if I was in the office going into the break room, eating something up or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
I try not to get comfortable, just
Right.
comfortable on that time, unless I do hit, if I hit something that's frustrating and and it's like I need an hour to just either go out somewhere, or I've had some time where I just needed to get away from from job one, and then I'll come over and spend my lunch hour here doing coloring stuff, and then once I'll even set a timer, and then once I'm done, I go back, continue job one, and then just try to make it, as regimented as possible for devoting the time for that. And I'm not out. I generally don't do things like laundry and all that. I usually do all that stuff on the weekends and whatever, because I don't want to get lost in other stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
So,
That would be nice to put laundry off on the weekend. That's one of the things that like interrupts. And I actually enjoy washing clothes. And it sounds weird, but I actually enjoy washing clothes. But my washers and dryers sing to me. So if I start a wash and then I start working, you know what I mean? When it sings, oh okay, I gotta get up for a minute. You know what I mean? Get
Yeah,
up, walk around the house, like walk around the kitchen, or it used to be like walk, like go check the hamster, go check the birds. You know what I mean? And then
yeah,
check the laundry, come back, sit down. But at least that was getting up. It reminds me to get up from my seat a little bit, stretch out and walk out. You know what I mean? Pull away
yeah.
from digital even for a second. But now I got a swimming pool.
All
I'll
right.
go do a lap around the swimming pool. Not in the swimming pool, it's too cold, but a lap around it, like walk around it, and like come
Yeah.
back.
Nice.
Like, you wait till it gets warm. I'm gonna be in there, just so you know. But yeah, that's me talking to my swimming pool, by the way.
Let's see what it's. Oh my god, real quick here. It's kind of idea of Jose's idea of cold. Okay.
Okay, so it's a little chilly tonight. Okay, it's currently 50 degrees.
It's currently 39 degrees here, 97% humidity. It feels like it is
Oh.
an ice storm.
nice.
I have a friend in Kansas City, and the other day, like I guess they had a storm going on because his kids were home for like 2 weeks from school. Oh, it's my cat. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, it was so cold tonight. I was like, I had to put a blanket on while I was sitting down here talking to you. And he's like, what do you mean it's cold? It's like, it was like 42 degrees. And he's like, shut up. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, it's -3. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
But like in Florida, cold is different. Like people are like, oh, that's not blah, blah, that's not cold. Like, no, dude, I used to work in like -30 degree temperature and 30 degrees on the regular at the Walmart DC because I worked in the perishable side. Like I did it in t-shirts and a hoodie. I don't care about that. But when you're accustomed it to being warmer,
Right.
right? And you come out, the humidity will change and it will get colder because the wind will be blowing, right? It is different. It's not the same. I'm from Indiana. The cold doesn't bother me. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? But
It is a matter of
when
getting used to it. Yeah.
right when you're going like in the day, it's like 70 degrees, and you're like, oh man, this is nice. This is like I love this. And then like it drops down to like 40 because it's just cold wind and whatnot. Yeah, it gets a little chilly for some people.
Yeah.
I'm still not there where I have to put a parka on. My first year here in Florida, it was wintertime, and I remember it was a Tuesday, and people were putting on like full like goose down parkas, and I'm like, these people are weird. Now I'm
Yeah.
so glad for my like Carhartt hoodie every time I get when the wind blows. Like, oh man, I'm getting old.
Okay. Well, these have been our tips on how we stay productive and how we plan out being productive. Do you have any other final notes or questions that you guys wanted to talk about or go over?
Well, just reiterate that, like you said, like if you don't get the production that you want done or that you plan to have done, don't beat yourself up over it. Like
Yeah.
it really does happen,
Absolutely.
So like, bounce back, recoup, rearrange your plans, rearrange your schedule, and you know what I mean? Just keep moving.
Yeah, just try to do your best. try not to internalize it. That's a big issue that I
Yeah.
have. Is I tend to internalize.
Yeah.
Man, I could have done that so much better. But sometimes good enough is truly good enough. So
Yeah.
just try to do your
Yeah,
best and run with it.
right. And my wife's a pretty big proponent. She's like, "Hey, we need to go out and do something." I was like, "I got stuff to do." She's like, "No, come on, let's go to the park. Let's go to the fair." You know what I mean? It's like, you know what? You're right. Like, if you're telling me I need to step out, I've probably been too far at it. And like, I tell people all the time, I was like, I don't like people. I don't want to go outside. People are out there. But
Yeah.
I definitely have somebody who is willing to come up and, hey, let's go. Let's go grab a drink. Let's go. You know what I mean? Let's, I don't know, go do something. Go grab a bite to eat real quick. Go take a walk around the block, something, to get you away. Because it may seem like I have so much to do and I can't, you know what I mean? It's time I can't take. But it helps. Like a little bit of time's away, it helps.
Yeah. My favorite aphorism is always, "Don't let perfect be the enemy of good."
Right.
Like if you feel like you're like not hitting perfection on what you're doing, you're not like being as productive as possible, or not hitting all of our like plans, you're probably still doing good enough.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty solid.
No. Okay. Well, like I said, that's our lunch show on Tuesday. This has been how to plan out a productive year. Next week we'll be back for our Tuesday the 13th special. So we'll be talking about how you can use iconography and elements of pop culture and the zeitgeist in your comics. So talking about Friday the 13th being a classic spooky thing, and how you can incorporate um, those common icons and ideas into your comics to elevate your story or produce metaphor, things like that. If you want to support the show, head on over to silverlinecomics.com, buy yourself some comics, or go to Kickstarter, type in Silverline, and you'll find our current Kickstarter for Beyond the Stars and Bear. You can catch up on those series as well as pre-order the new issue. Like we say every time, these are fully completed books. You are not kickstarting a tunnel dream that will never be completed. You are pre-ordering a completed work before it goes to market. And we will have much more of those for you down the road. Make sure to check out Wednesday Wham and Silver Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern on those respective days. We will be back 8 p.m. Pacific next Tuesday. And if you're listening to this after the fact on any podcast service such as iTunes, Spotify, Google, what have you, go ahead and leave us a review, share us with your friends. Those help a lot. But until the next time we see you, remember to
Make mine Silverline.
make mine
Make mine
Silverline.
Silverline.
Hi, my name is Paul Kupperberg. Make mine Silverline.